Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Brakathum to the hopefully elect. And just back with another video, man. Spirit had it to where pretty much I was just looking into the situation going on in Afghanistan. All right, because supposedly because as it's been said before, a lot of these nations are pretty much suffering things such as humanitarian crises, and a lot of these nations, they're going through all type of famines and judgments for the most part. All right, dealing with all type of sicknesses and the sword and pestilences, because all hell is pretty much breaking loose around the world. All right. And dealing with this situation in Afghanistan, I believe supposedly this is the worst. I believe they're facing the worst humanitarian crisis in the world, according to reports or whatnot. And real quick, I'm gonna look this up to see. I'm gonna look up the definition of what a humanitarian crisis is. So just looking up the definition of what a humanitarian crisis is, it says a humanitarian crisis is defined as a singular event or a series of events that are threatening in terms of health, safety, or well-being of a community or large group of people. It may be an internal or external conflict and usually occurs throughout a large land area. All right, so again, basically just all hell breaking loose for the most part, which, like I said, according to what they're putting out, Afghanistan is suffering the worst humanitarian crisis right now. Because for those that don't know, ever since America pretty much pulled out of Afghanistan, the Taliban, they pretty much took back over. And a lot of those Afghans, they pretty much got the hell out of Dodge, because ever since American troops pulled out, they've been the Taliban have been pretty much reverting back to their old ways, man. They've been talking about how they've went back to public hangings and stuff like that, man. They went back to stoning people, and it's getting pretty crazy out there, right? But and because for the most part, just to show you, because I did the previous video dealing with Sudan, and how the military did a coup. It wasn't the previous video; it was the video before it. I was touching on it, but pretty much over there in Sudan, the military, man, they took over because their government was transitioning over to a democracy, which I guess the military, the general that declared a state of emergency and took over, man, they didn't want that. Which the people, they were for it, but the military, for the most part, they didn't want no part in that, because you see this whole illusion of democracy and which all ties into America, this great whore. These different nations, when the scriptures go into how in Revelation, when it goes into how these nations have, matter of fact, I'll look into that real quick. I'm gonna read that real quick. All right, because because these nations have partook in this wine. All right, these different philosophies of Babylon the Great. This is why a lot of these nations are pretty much destroyed. All right, their governments are tumbling. All right, I'm gonna read this real quick in the book of Revelation. Gotta look for this real quick. Oh, Slack, I'm in Revelation 17. It's in Revelation 18. Revelation 18. I'll start at verse 3, talking about Babylon the Great, right? It says, Revelation 18:3, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. All right, and who is this her? It's referring to America, Babylon the Great. Because when you go to Revelation 17:5, it says, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. So you see, America, this is that great whore, that mother that sat upon the beast. All right, it's talking about America, Babylon the Great. All right, which was this place has been used as the how do you say it? Pretty much the elites of this world. All right, they used America to implant this poison. All right, the elites of this world used America, Babylon the Great, to spread this wine, man, and cause all these other nations to drink of this wine, which is why ultimately these nations, because they're gonna wake up, or they've been waking up to the fact that because of America, they allowed Esau to come. Esau runs America. They allowed Esau to come into their country, come into their nation, and pretty much destroy it. These nations are coming to that realization, and this is why, like I said, ultimately these nations, man, they're gonna shoot their missiles upon this place. But in Revelation 18:3 again, it says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. So, again, long story short, these nations, they partook in this wine, man. They drunk in this Babylonian juice, and this is why these nations are in a shamble. All right, and going back to Sudan, because I had mentioned that it was my opinion that because the illusion that comes behind democracy, all right, people may think that it's in their best of interest when it's really not. And I had mentioned that in my humble opinion, I think that the military, the general that declared a state of emergency, I think he knew that, and this is why he didn't want to transition the government to a democracy. But like I mentioned, I could be wrong on that. It's just my opinion. But nevertheless, this poison is the point that I'm trying to make, which democracy plays a part in that. All right, these nations, Esau goes into these other nations, these countries, and pretty much convince them to with this democracy, which again is you pretty much partaking in this wine, or you're sleeping with this whore. All right, which that's pretty much what took place over there ever since America came over there to Afghanistan. Is been nothing but the implementation of this democracy, the implementation of this poison. You see, Esau's planted his seed over there. All right, and ever since America has been over there in Afghanistan, occupying that land, which they have no business, for one. All right, because this is another reason why you have a lot of tension brewing up with World War III, man. It's brewing up. All right. Because pretty much America, man, they're getting themselves involved in places that they don't need to be in, man. They're getting into a business that they have no business getting themselves into. Like with Taiwan, China's getting ready to invade Taiwan, which America backs Taiwan, right? As well as it's a similar situation with the Ukraine, with America backs Ukraine, and Russia, is pretty much talking about, occupying that land or whatnot, or taking over or whatever, right? And it's causing a lot of tension. But nevertheless, it's all because of America, man. All right, because pretty much America needs to mind his business, and the scriptures go into how Esau, man, he can't stay at home, and he just has to, go into these other nations and just be nosy and just be the devil, man. All right, he can't stay where he's at, But nevertheless, this is all the will of Yahweh Shemel Shah. But nevertheless, going back to ever since America came over there to Afghanistan. Ever since America got over to Afghanistan, you see, you had pretty much, because now before America got into Afghanistan, you didn't really have it to where, because a lot of those places over there, man, they adopt a lot of our customs, the customs of the Israelites, because our laws and statutes, they actually work, right? Despite Jake not wanting to keep the laws and ordinances of Yahweh Shemel Shai, they actually do work, and therefore our benefit. And a lot of those places over there, like the Middle East and stuff like that, man, they adopt a lot of our ways because they actually work. So, like over there in Afghanistan, man, another one of those places, they, for the most part, adapt a lot of our ways. And you see, because like a lot of places over there, man, they don't tolerate that stuff with feminism and, before America got involved with Afghanistan, you didn't really, like, for the most part, man, a lot of the women, they were in order, stuff like that. But ever since America got involved with Afghanistan, you see, you had women, women rights. Like right now, you got women protesting and well, I'm not going to say rioting, but pretty much, standing up, protesting or whatnot. Now that America's not there, all right, because again, the Taliban, America's gone now, and the Taliban, they pretty much, they took back over, and what they're doing is pretty much they're reestablishing order. All right. They're saying that women can't get involved in sports. They're over there. They're talking about segregation. Women can't go to school. Girls can't go to school with boys, and women can't work at certain jobs, and they're pretty much establishing order back over there. And you see, that's why I said this is why you got women over there in Afghanistan. A lot of them are getting the hell out of Dodge, but you got some that are actually trying to stand up and protest and whatnot. All right, because they want to go back to you see, they got a little taste of that what do you call it? That Babylon juice, that feminism. All right, which again all goes back to this poison that Esau spreads to these different nations. All right, democracy and women's libs and freedom and things like that. You see, well, them Talibanians, man, they ain't having that. So, like I said, they're establishing order over there. So with that being said, man, ever since the Taliban took back over when America left, all right, American soldiers left. This is what's been going on over there. All right, and ever since then, man, because I pretty much America, Slovakia, because I think America was actually funding. They were providing some type of international funds to Afghanistan, but because of what's going on over there, I believe they cut the fundings. America cut the fundings, right? And now going back to what I mentioned, how supposedly Afghanistan, they're suffering the worst humanitarian crisis, and it's so bad over there that it's to the point where it's so bad over there that people are selling their daughters for food. They're selling their daughters for marriage. All right. I was watching another video about how a baby being sold for $500 by a starving family, because that's how bad it is over there. You see, and this is just one example of the again, what I'm talking about of how bad it is over there. I'm gonna play this video, right? It says hunger forces Afghans to sell young daughters into marriage. You see, because I was watching the video, I forgot who it was, but basically he was talking about going back to a bartering system, because talking about here in America's going to go back to a bartering system. All right, because when the dollar collapsed, when the dollar becomes pointless. All right, I was reading somewhere in Venezuela is so bad that the money is so devalued. It's cheaper to use it's cheaper to use money than to use toilet paper. Just to show you, the value of the dollar being so devalued. All right, it's cheaper to use it for toilet paper than it's cheaper to use it as toilet paper than actually going out to buy toilet paper. That's how useless the money has become over there in Venezuela. And again, because Venezuela is another one of those countries that has adopted the ways, the poison, of this whore. They slept with this whore. Because if I'm not mistaken, Venezuela used to be I believe it was one of the most richest countries in South America. All right. But now, if you just, do your research and look up what's going on over there, all right, it's bad over there, man. And you see, all that's coming here to America is coming to Babylon the Great. You see, going back to this bartering system, all right, that I mentioned. Like I said, I forgot who I was watching, but again, the dollar is going to become so devalued, it's going to become so worthless and pointless that people are just going to be burning it just to keep a fire, man, keep a fire going. People are going to be using the physical dollar for toilet paper, because that's how worthless it's going to be. You see, but I'm gonna play this video here, and I'm just kind of going through the spirit here, so a few precepts come to mind. But without further ado,
at this camp for internally displaced people in northwestern Afghanistan, the numbers of young girls getting betrothed increased during a famine 3 years ago and surged this year when the rains failed once more. The parents of this girl say they have been pushed to the limit. They have chosen to sell her into marriage to make ends meet.
This is my 8-year-old daughter. I sold her for 2,500 euros because of hunger and debt. In the coming days, the man who bought her will come and take her to his house. I have no other choice. This is not a good thing to do. God and his messenger never told us to do this.
For one father who sold his 2 daughters, aged 9 and 6, the money was spent to feed his other children and pay medical bills for his wife. He remains in debt and hasn't seen his girls.
I haven't seen them for a year. I haven't seen the children. They took them. We can't pay for the transport to go and see them and then come back. We cannot go and come back, so we haven't seen the kids. Their mother is a nervous wreck because of her children, because of all the misery.
The province's governor says the child marriages are due to poverty and not something being imposed by the Taliban, now in charge in the country. Its takeover has deepened the economic crisis, with much international aid suspended. The World Food Programme is warning that more than half the population, almost 23 million people, will face acute food insecurity this winter.
So yeah, again, just one of many examples of how bad it's going over there, because again, the international funds being cut because of the Taliban takeover. So, and it's only going to get worse from there, man. As brothers have said, man, time in and time out, it's only going to get worse before it gets worse, before it eventually gets better, and ultimately the kingdom. All right, but hey, this is what you're going to start seeing here in the shores of America, man, because I'm going to read this real quick in wrong chapter, actually. I'm going to read this in Ecclesiasticus or Sirach 36 and 24. It says, he that getteth a wife it just means woman. All right. A wife is interchangeable with woman. And when you look into the definition of a woman, you can look it up on the etymology online. It'll tell you a female servant, because that's the role of a woman, is to serve. All right. So it says, he that getteth a wife or a woman beginneth a possession. to help, a help like unto himself and a pillar of rest. So, and you see again this whole part of Esau's his poison. All right, part of his wine, his with his different philosophies and whatnot is women's lib. All right, feminism, where these women have been taught up to believe that they are better than the man. All right, that they're and this is why a lot of times you might hear me refer to them as so-called women. All right, because again, the job of a woman is to serve. All right, but these women, they have forgotten their role, man, and they're pretty much useless. They and this is why, unfortunately, a lot of 2/3 of our women, which consists majority of the 2/3, man, because there's Esau's own science will tell you this: there's more women in the society than men. All right, which is not a coincidence. It's spiritual. But the majority of the 2/3 that are going to be cut off will be women. So unfortunately, a lot of women are going to have to perish because they just simply don't want to. They simply don't want to serve their purpose, which is to serve a man of Yahweh Bashem Shai. You see, but nevertheless, because I mentioned this before, man, I actually told my demon this, man, that hey, what you see going on over there in Afghanistan, where you got those Talibanians, a lot of those men, man, hey, they're reestablishing order over there. They're not letting women drive. They're not letting women compete in sports. Like I mentioned, with the segregations in the school systems, not allowing the women to work certain jobs. You see, order is being reestablished over there. And that's going to happen here. Because you see, when all hell starts breaking loose over here, hey, you women, man, are going to revert back to your natural state and being a possession, being humble. All right, because you're going to soon find out the cruel, hard way that you're not better than the man. All right, you are not the prize. All right, the man is the prize. All right, and it's going to be by a man of Yahweh Bashem Shai. If you're not with the man of Yahweh Bashem Shai, then you won't be protected because it's going to come by way of a man of Yahweh Bashem Shai. He's going to be your protection. All right. When you read that in Ezekiel 9:4, when it talks about that mark, all right, it specifically mentioned the mark that's upon the man, the men, all right, not the women, the men. All right, so all those that are enjoined unto a man of the Lord that has that mark of exemption, all right, the tawa, the tawa, all right, all those joined unto him, they're gonna be protected. They're gonna be all right. But you see, again, you women are gonna find out because you've been taught that you don't need a man. All right, you're Miss Independent. You're Miss I could do bad all by myself. Well, as brothers be saying, man, keep that same attitude when all hell starts breaking loose. And you see, a lot of women are starting to come to the realization. All right, because, like I said, man, the spirit just kind of was on me to, just touch on, certain, look up certain information. Because even over here in the States, man, a lot of who's pretty much suffered the worst ever since this pandemic started has been women. All right. I was watching a video where they were talking about a secret pandemic in women's financial wellness. All right, because women, again, they've been pretty much impacted the most by this pandemic. All right, with all the job losses and everything that's going on, women for the most part have been affected the most. And I was watching the video how a lot of these women, when they're stressed, emotionally distressed, gaining all kind of weight and just depressed. Because lately they've been talking about Americans and their mental health because of this whole pandemic and how bad things are going. All right, and again, a majority of it is women. All right. And even this year alone, they said like the first quarter of this year, there's been more gun sales. All right. And guess who's been buying up guns the most? So the so-called black woman. You see, because like I said, man, it's in the air, man. The feeling is in the air. It's about to get bad out here. It's going to get dangerous out here. All right. But again, because you women, you don't want to get with the program. Then you're only going to have but so much bullets, man. On top of that, I'm sure you don't pretty much barely use a thing at that, But them guns, man, they only come with so many bullets, man. All right. So this is why it's best that, hey, you get yourself in order, man, and submit to the will of Yahweh Shemal Shai. You get yourself order under the order of a man of Yahweh Shemal Shai. So that way you don't have to get caught up in here in situations like this to where you have to sell your children. All right. You know, because believe it or not, hey, it's going to get bad out here to the point where, hey, people are going to be eating their own kids, man. Cannibalism is coming back on a major scale. Right. I'll get this example. You know, what is that? I think that's First Kings or Second Kings. Going into this famine of Samaria. Have to look for this real quick. As I mentioned, I'm just kind of going through the spirit here, so just bear with me. So 2 Kings chapter 6, again, going into this famine in Samaria, right? Or actually, I don't think this is it. Yeah, this is it. 2 Kings chapter 6, verse 25, it says, and there was a great famine in Samaria, and behold, they besieged it. And you see, this is what's going on now. All right, the trench is being said about us now, man. Here it is. They're cutting off this, because, you know, it's no secret that with this whole so-called supply chain crisis, man, it's all being orchestrated. It's all setting up because they're about to starve you jakes out. All right. So they're getting ready to besiege us now, man. Nothing new under the sun, as the scriptures say. It says, behold, they besieged it until an ass's head was sold for 80 pieces of silver, and the fourth part of cab of dove's dung for 5 pieces of silver. So, you know, you can also look into the time of the siege of Jerusalem in 70 AD, man. You look into the time of like during the Masada, right? It was so bad, man, that, hey, man, people were eating the latches off their shoe, their sandals or whatnot, man. It was bad, man. All right. And that's how it's going to be here, man. People are going to be selling dog shit, man, for overpriced dog shit, man. It's just going to be, it's going to be bad, man. But it says, and the king of Israel was passing by upon the wall. There cried a woman unto him, saying, help, my lord, O king. And he said, if Yahweh do not help thee, when shall I help thee? And you see, that's this aid, you know, because when Yahweh Shemal Shai, the Lord brings judgment upon you, it's nothing that we can do for you, man. What do you expect us to do? Like I said, the only ones of you that are going to be safe and protected is if you come up under the banner of a man of Yahweh Shemal Shai. That's the only way you're going to be protected, man. All right? Because he's going to be your safe passage. It says, out of the barn floor or out of the winepress. And the king said unto her, what aileth thee? And she answered, this woman said unto me, give thy son that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. So they had an agreement. All right. One will eat this son today, and tomorrow they will eat her son. Right. And it says, verse 29, it says, so we boiled my son and did eat him. And I said unto her on the next day, give thy son that we may eat him. And she hath hid her son. So you see, just to show you how bad it got to a point where, hey, people are going to, come together and, hey, man, hey, we can eat your child this day. We can eat your son this day. And tomorrow we'll eat my son, because that's how bad it's going to get, to the point where, hey, people are going to rationalize within themselves that this is the right thing to do. All right. Because of how bad it's going to be. All right. And hey, man, when you're hungry, when you're starving, man, hey, man, you start hallucinating, man. You can start hallucinating, start being delusional, man. You can start bugging out, man. Because, hey, as the scriptures say, it tells you in Lamentations, hunger, starving to death. That's a very bad way to go, man. It's better to die by the sword, man, than to die by starvation. You see. And that's what's getting ready to happen out here. Like I said, hey, the enemy, he's putting that trench roundabout, man, and he's going to starve you jakes out. So, hey, like I said, like I mentioned, man, going back to a bartering system, man. All right. People are going to be trading off their sons and daughters, I'm gonna read this if I can find it. Just bear with me. So Jeremiah 16, verse 2 says, "Thou shalt not take thee a wife, neither shalt thou have sons or daughters in this place." Why? Because this is not the time to be building up a family, establishing a family and a future and a legacy. This is not the time for that. All right. Granted, a lot of brothers do have wives and daughters and things of that nature, but hey, whatever the will of the Lord be, man, that's just what it is. And that's a hard pill that a lot of us have accepted already, that hey, whatever happens, happens. We're just hoping that Yahweh Shemashai has mercy on our household, but it is what it is, man. But nevertheless, this is not the time to be taking up a wife and trying to, get multiple wives and, have a family and establish a legacy. This is the time and the place for that. All right, because we're in captivity. And you see a lot of these children are being born just to be pretty much destroyed, man. They're going to be handed over to, to the slaughter. That's why when you read verse 3, it says, "For thus saith Yahweh concerning the sons and concerning the daughters that are born in this place, and concerning their mothers that bare them, and concerning their fathers that begot them in this land, they shall die of grievous deaths." So, hey, like I said, it's a sad case, but hey, nevertheless, when you read verse 1, it says, "The word of Yahweh came also unto me, saying." So this is, hey, we're just telling you, this is how it's going to be. This is thus saith the Lord, man. We're not saying these things, These aren't all words we're trying to tell you, but nevertheless, hey, giving you this truth, man, uncut, raw and unfiltered, man. You see, a lot of these kids, man, they're going to be, they're just being born just to die grievous deaths, man. A lot of them are going to get traded off, sold, eaten, right? It says they shall not be lamented, neither shall they be buried. They shall be as dung upon the face of the earth, and they shall be consumed by the sword and by famine, and their carcasses shall be meat for the fowls of heaven and for the beasts of the earth. You see, man, a lot of dead bodies are going to be out here, man. And hey, people are going to be witnessing their family, their loved ones getting traded off, sold off, or witness them being put to death. And you're not going to have time to lament for them. You're not going to have time to mourn for them because of how bad it's going to be out here, man. You see, I mean, that's heavy. Seeing a loved one get offed and not having time to lament for them, not having time to grieve, that's very heavy, man. But nevertheless, this is what's getting ready to happen, man. All right, Yahweh Shema Shai is reestablishing order to this place. And because also another thing, because you got a lot of these camps. Like I said, this was just one example of many. Like out there in what do you call it? Ethiopia. They're pretty much going through a civil war right now. All right, because I believe I could be wrong, but I believe it was kind of the same similar situation with Sudan. How oh man, I forgot, but basically, you got the people of the Tigray region. Hold up, man. Let me look up a video real quick, because you got the military over there in Ethiopia, man. They're conducting airstrikes, on because I believe the Tigray region. I think that it's like a what do you call it? Rebel group, if I'm not mistaken. You got people down over there, man. It's a civil war over there. You see, and like kind of like Afghanistan, where people are trying to get the hell out of Dodge, man. We got different camps and refugee camps set up and stuff like that. All right, and some of the things that are going on in these camps is women getting raped. Women selling themselves and selling their daughters. But I forgot the video that I was watching, man. But nevertheless, man, yeah, man, you got it's pretty much a civil war over there, man. And it's pretty much the same thing going on. Women getting raped, man. People are getting abducted to never be heard of again, stuff like that. you know, but nevertheless, again, hey, all these things, um, were written and it's being played out, and it's only a matter of time before it comes here. Like I said, it's going to get bad here to the point that, hey, not only are women gonna be selling their kids off just to eat, all right, but cannibalism. Some of these mothers, man, they're gonna be the ones eating their very own child, man, their children. I'm also get this in Second Esdras 15. Second Esdras 15. I'll start at verse 56. It says, matter of fact, Second Esdras 15. I'll start at verse 51. Because I believe it's in the same chapter how the Lord said that he was gonna pretty much bring judgment upon the earth, the world, man, but more so here in America. But hey, the earth, it's not like America's gonna be catching it the worst, and then things aren't gonna be happening around the world, man. Like I said, all hell is pretty much already breaking loose around the world. But I'm gonna read this in Second Esdras 15 and verse 50 says, "And the glory of thy power shall be dried up as a flower. When the heat shall arise that is sent over thee, thou shalt be weakened as a poor woman with stripes, and as one chased with wounds, so that the mighty and lovers shall not be able to receive thee." Precept had just popped in my mind, but it kind of just went away. Because one thing, man, our people, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and American Indians, still putting your trust in a failing system, a system that doesn't give a damn about you. And this is going to be the very same system, all right, to bite you in the ass, man. All right, but especially you women, all right, because this whole covenant that you have with the so-called white man goes back to the Garden of Eden, all right, when the serpent beguiled Eve, all right, the serpent, is getting ready to turn around and bite you, man. And when it's all said and done, don't come running to a man of the Lord expecting sympathy. And I'm talking about the ones that aren't predestined to make it, because you're going to have a lot of women coming up to a man of the Lord. Isaiah 4:1, they were predestined to make it. But to those that weren't predestined to make it, because the Spirit is going to be able to discern in that day. You see, this Yahweh Shem Shah, he's going to have his Spirit on his men to be able to discern who to take in and who to not take in. Because a lot of you women have done the man of the Lord wrong, some way, shape, form, or fashion, man. I was just watching the Elder Apostle Gabar watch this video this morning about he was doing a commentary on a brother, I think it was out there in London, a brother that's out there in London, if I'm not mistaken, how the brother was teaching, and you had some celebrity, some rapper or whatever, some pretty much the so-called black woman, pretty much come across the brother's camp and scoff, talk shit. You see, and you see, man, because stuff like that happens, people don't know that you just mark yourself, man. You just condemn yourself by doing stuff like that. Whenever you come across a man of the Lord, man, and you do stuff like that, you say something, you even think something against a man of the Lord, you just mark yourself. You could just condemn yourself, and that's the case for a lot of you people out here, men, women, and children. All right, you disrespect the man of the Lord, whether it be inadvertently, indirectly, whatever the case may be, you just mark yourself. You see, and a lot of you women, man, have condemned the men of the Lord. All right, you talk shit, whatever the case may be. All right, and you don't know, man. You just make yourself a walking target in the eyes of Yahweh Shem Shah. You're a lot of you are just dead men and dead women walking. But it says, verse 52, what I with jealousy have so proceeded against thee, saith the Lord, if thou hadst not always slain my chosen, exalting the stroke of thine hands, and saying over their dead when thou wast drunken, set forth the beauty of thy countenance. Set forth the beauty of thy countenance, that the reward of thy whoredom shall be in thy bosom. Therefore thou shalt receive recompense. And this is what's getting ready to take place, a great recompensation. All right? Because, hey, man, again, they're pushing this narrative of women's, pretty much to because, again, women, like I said, they've been suffering the most, supposedly, during this whole pandemic or whatnot. And, is lately it's been, or here and there, I've been seeing these videos about how we gotta basically take care of women. We gotta, with the domestic violence cases increases, we gotta protect the women, and we gotta do this for the women, and we gotta do that for the women. Wait, you women aren't exempt from judgment. Yahweh Shemel Shah is gonna deal with you as well, man. You see, you just had a woman out, I think it was out there in Philly, man, pretty much get raped on the train, and with nobody pretty much did anything about it. You see, stuff like that, man, that's gonna be nothing compared to what's gonna be going on in Jacob's trouble, man. All right. It says, like as thou hast done unto my chosen, saith the Lord, even so shall God do unto thee, and shall deliver thee into mischief. So you see, like I read in Second Kings, the 6th chapter, man, if the Lord brings the mischief upon you, what can we do to you? Don't come running to a man of the Lord, all right, begging for forgiveness, asking, no, man. All right, because here it said God shall deliver thee into mischief. So the Lord's going to be the one to deliver you over into mischief, man. He's going to be the one to, bring the calamity upon you. What are we going to be able to do about it? Absolutely nothing. And again, that's to the ones who it was predestined not to make it. All right. Verse 57, it says, thy children shall die of hunger, and thou shalt fall through the sword. Thy city shall be broken down, and all thine shall perish with the sword in the field. So, hey, it's going to be bad on all sides, man. You're going to have bombs, explosions, just all chaos, all hell breaking loose, man. Right? The city is going to be laid to waste. All right? Because just like all these other countries, man, the virgin daughter of Babylon, because that's another name for America, the virgin daughter of Babylon. All right? Because this place hasn't been touched as far as warfare. No one has really invaded this land or whatever. But that's soon about to change. America's about to get her cherry popped. All right, so you're going to have all type of invasions, bombings, other nations dropping bombs. All that stuff is going to be going on over here, man. Planes flying overhead and some shit. What's that movie called? Red Dawn, where, you had they were sleeping, man. And, it was like early in the morning or whatever. And, it just chaos just broke out of nowhere. They ran outside, man, and it was just planes overhead and people jumping out of the planes, man. And it was just all hell broke loose. You see, because that's how the Bible describes it, man. Suddenly, all hell's going to break loose suddenly, man. It's just going to come out of nowhere. You see? So it says, verse 58, they that be in the mountains shall die of hunger and eat their own flesh and drink their own blood for very hunger of bread and thirst of water. So you see, cannibalism. All right. Not only are people going to be selling their daughters and sons off, right, but they're going to be eating their own flesh. All right. Drinking their own blood, drinking the blood of their own offspring, stuff like that. It's going to be going on because of how bad it's going to be. All right. And it's, again, man, because, just a lot of the stuff they don't report on the mainstream media. This is why, you got a lot of, other different media outlets that people are reverting to because, they don't report on this stuff. You see, and this is why these Americans, man, they don't really care for what the men of the Lord, trying to bring these things out, try to bring this information out, because if it's not coming from ABC and CNN and stuff like that, then hey, they ain't gonna pay attention to it. All right, but that's all right, because like I just said, I didn't say it, but the scriptures say, man, when these people think to be in peace and safety, then sudden destruction. All right, so these people are still thinking themselves to be in good case, especially Jake. All right, but when all hell breaks loose, all of a sudden, then, you can't say you weren't told, man. So this is, just one of many things going on, man, worldwide. Lord's will, the Spirit gets on me because I've been also watching the situation with Lebanon. All right, they're suffering a humanitarian crisis as well. They're going through it. All right, but all that stuff, man, it's just a matter of time before it comes here to America, Babylon the Great. So hopefully this is edifying, giving all praises to Yahweh Shema Shai, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, Yahweh Shema Shai, Barakathum to the hopefully elect, Lord's will. Until next time, Shalom.